just not legal, but also political and moral. Now, I'm not going to have time to do these articles, but one thing that really pissed me off, I don't know who he is, Jeff Jacoby, and he says, he calls it the slavery reparations hustle. He says you can make it on your own, the reparation says to black Americans. The deck is stacked against you. Would you continue reading? You are down to there. You are.
You are victims in this country. You have always been victims. You will never succeed in America because America is fundamentally racist. All your troubles, your unemployment, your drug use, your fatherless families, your kids' academic failure, your violent crime, your domestic abuse, your imprisoned young men, all of them are the fault of others. Don't blame yourselves. Blame white America for never giving you a fair shake. Blame Jim Crow and the decades of segregation. Blame institutional racism. Blame racial profiling.
Read here the legacy of slaves, etc. See, he's saying the blacks in the hustle, they're telling blacks, oh, the whites put you here. You know, you can make it, but don't look to white people. Read.
The legacy of slavery and racial discrimination in America is seen in well-documented racial disparities in access to education, health care, housing, insurance, employment, and other social goods. The reparations movement must therefore focus on the poorest of the poor. It must finance social recovery for the bottom stuck, providing an opportunity to address comprehensively the problems of those who have not substantially benefited from integration or affirmative action.
Like, not only who's in prison, who's sick, who doesn't have the money to go to doctors, who's at the bottom of everything? The blacks. Now, you can say, oh, well, you're not working hard enough. You're just not doing what you should have done. The fact is, when the race started, whites were way up here and we were back here and we're still trying to catch up. And some of us can sneak up there and get up there, but we still don't have privilege and shit. Read this paragraph, Victoria Barnett, and please project. I know Jeff, but he's not here. Go ahead, Jeff. Let him have it, honey. That girl can play the piano, girl. She is truly good, professional. Go ahead.
Victoria Barnett has argued that, quote, reparations are a form of compensation for past injuries, yet particularly with respect to the African American and Native American populations, we are not just looking at past injuries because the original injustices have been compounded by decades of discrimination. For that reason, discussion of reparations for slavery touches on a number of deeper issues. Proponents contend that the destructive legacy of slavery continues to hinder many African Americans from achieving equal status in this society in measurable ways: infant mortality rates, unemployment, incarceration rates, etc. African Americans are at a disadvantage. Racism remains an ugly reality in our society. As I have mentioned previously, it was the intention of the political, financial, and social institutions to create an underclass in the society made up of former slaves, and this underclass is still fighting to become economically and socially secure. The example that I gave about my father not being admitted to labor unions is a personal case in point.
Thank you. I want to thank you. As Randall Robinson has argued, slavery's legacy is structural. It reaches into all segments of the society. This is especially true in the institutions of education, which are structured in such a manner that some are rich and some are poor, but all are costly. Princeton University, that costs about $40,000 a year now, has recently decided that all their students will be given scholarships, not loans, so that they will not be in mountains of debt when they graduate. $34,000 to $40,000 a year. The privileged go to Princeton, they go to Yale, they go to Harvard, they go to all the exclusive schools. And some blacks go with financial help, but they don't have enough to make up the difference. And you get out of those schools and you might be $100,000 in debt. One of my students who's Cape Verde and graduated from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, which isn't one of the elites, it's a state university, $23,000 in debt. And has already claimed bankruptcy one time and is on the way to another with his bachelor's degree. Now I ask you, if I want to make it in society, and I want to make it well, and I want to go to Harvard, where am I going to get it? When I went to college, my mother and father said, good luck. I swear. They said, we don't have a nickel to give you. And today, even a state university that'll cost you $20,000 a year maybe, and your family's making 30 or 35, how are you going to go? You see? And there is a discrepancy there. And I'm making this point strong because we're going to have time for some questions quickly, because I want white people, and maybe blacks too, to say to me, well, what do you expect us to do? We weren't born then. We don't know what you do now. Honey, we're all even now. As Barnett argues, I have to go fast. I have to go fast. As Barnett argues, slavery was not perpetrated just by traders and slaveholders. It created patterns of complicity and that extended throughout the United States society and still affects each one of us. Each one of us here. For example, Brown University got its start from slaveholders who had money who passed it on to Brown. Harvard University Business School was born with money from the prominent slaveholding family. Thus, many educational institutions, churches, social and fraternal organizations benefited from the institution of slavery, and those benefits have been ongoing. They are manifest in white privilege. They are. Thus, all should be involved in reparations. All. Educational institutions must reconstruct curricula so that a truer picture of African and African American contributions are noted and taught. Man began in Africa, and Timbuktu existed long before Athens. Yes. Western history may have begun in Athens, but Greek historians give credit to the contributions of Africans in their research and writings. As Barnett writes, it is this ongoing aspect of complicity that makes reparations and all attempts at apology, restitution, reconciliation, or forgiveness so complex and controversial. As the national debate gathers steam, the forms of reparation will be more fully discussed. In the field of education, it will be discussed. In politics, they've already been brought, they are submitting cases against some of the insurance companies who insured. That's already been done, etc. and so forth. Now, as Barnett concludes, when injustice is perpetrated against an entire group, and when it persists over a long period and its effects permeate society, no one is untouched. The dividing lines that resolved religious, ethnic, or economic, public and private relationships. The longer such dividing lines exist, the more difficult it is to have genuine and honest dialogue based upon these opposite sides. And I want to say here, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, I read in the Cleveland paper, some Cleveland billionaire, he decides that he wants to help Cleveland Clinic on their next venture. They had bought up the whole pharmacy. He gives them $100 million. 2 days ago, Mr. Miller, a Jewish man, gave the Cleveland Clinic $8 million. And I said, I wonder, when is a billionaire going to take $10 million and say, I'm building a permanent soup kitchen, dining room, cafeteria downtown for the homeless to eat, and there's going to be a dormitory where they can wash up and rest up before they eat, and there's going to be an educational program, so after they eat and they can read and we can teach them and they can go out and become self-sufficient. Rich people, privileged people pass the money on to their institutions. They don't give it to the poor. And they get a big headline in the paper, generous contribution from billionaire to maintain the institutions that they established. Before my passing, I would like to see a gigantic celebration of reconciliation focusing on forgiveness, something like in South Africa, the Reconciliation Committee, atonement, and of course reparations. Adelia Scruggs asked the following question: how can we decide how much I should be given because of my great-great-grandfather was in bondage? I nor anyone else can answer that question, but it's far past time for the discussion to begin. Now, this is my question, and we have a good 15 minutes to discuss this. I want to answer you. As a white person who wasn't here in anything, and try to be honest like I am, if you want to shoot me down like he did over there, I'm here. Do you feel that you have any responsibility because you weren't here when the progeny over here, their parents went through all this? You weren't here and you weren't here. Do you feel you have no responsibility, nothing to do with it? It's the way the ball bounced, blah, blah, blah. Somebody speak. Be honest. If you say, fuck it, I wasn't born then.
The responsibility is there because it lies in the benefits. The benefits that we have from the structural, the structures that have developed out of that situation. We benefited as white people. So, and we continue to benefit. So there is a responsibility there.
Anyone else over here? Yes, Louis Crew, and then I forgot your name, I know you.
I couldn't have lived in a relationship with an African-American partner for 29 years coming next month without realizing that the privileges are still there. It's very annoying and tiresome, but important continually to see the evidence before me, the doors that I thought opened for me because of my merit don't open to me because of my merit without this huge thing. However, and so yes, there's a huge price to pay. My guilt is the least empowering way I can pay a price. I think the changes that I can work for have to be much more responsible than that. So I mean, my guilt I can give you, but it's not a very big gift. What I can give, and what I've tried to do in feeble ways, but I've certainly worked at it, is to work at dismantling the systems of privilege in the institutions in which I work. But yes, it's a major task, and it's you got 2 feet ahead, and then you find out you walked 2 yards behind. So
now, on this side, I want to ask, what do you feel about that same question? Do you believe that the reparations demand that white people do something?
Oh, yeah.
You do. Does anyone over here not feel that? And over here, does anyone feel like I have read so much in the literature, I didn't parade all this before you, but a lot of people white said, let the dead rest. You know, we're all equal now, and we can all go now, and etc. and so forth. So don't bring all that up. I wasn't here. I was born in 1927, not 1840. I didn't have anything to do with it. Deep down in your heart, do you think it just should be a closed case? Are you afraid to say it? Or are you so released and so free and so loving that you wouldn't think of such an option? That somehow in your own way, in your own style, you've got to do something, but you don't know exactly what to do. And so you wring your hands as a privileged white man and say, oh, I can't touch that. Or do you take a black lover and assuage your guilt by living with black?
I have a problem, and I see this up until the Constitution of South Africa, of being the best country, given rights and all that. But it was founded that you people, black people, African American people, were considered 3/5 of a man. The women weren't counted at all, and you were counted as 3/5 more, so voting rights and taxes, and not to be a person. And, we praise our founding fathers who were slaveholders. And we don't hold up an image for our minority youth. And then I think about where we went out and more than decimated the Native Americans and stole this land from them and had the audacity to put them on what we call reservations. Germany called it concentration camps. And they admitted that they were going to concentrate the people they didn't want. We never admitted that. And then they took the audacity to start taking Native American children and taking them away from the Native American families and placed them in white families to be brought up as white children. That's the heritage of this country, which I still love and I think is the best up until South Africa, the new South Africa. But what does that mean? This is my country only since about 1910 when my families on both sides came in. I have problems in reparations because I don't know who to give it to. Is it the underclass of the African Americans? Michael Ross doesn't need it. He's got a $50,000 a year plus job.
And you
the $50,000 in gold that he's wearing now. Where it deserves to go is not necessarily a cash payment to a Michael Ross, a James Friedel, a Dr. John Bush, etc., etc. But we need to do something for the children in the Liberty cities, and the Overtons, and the deep south side of Chicago, and the inner city of Milwaukee. And it's more than just a cash payment. Because what we owe is this, a privilege to be able to step forward on your own and make it without somebody saying, oh, brother and is behind me. That's the privilege that we have. Because if John's walking behind me, he could be a thug too. But I don't see him as that because of the complexion and the hair texture. That's the problem in America. You're next. And then remind me that I have to talk about, well, I'll just say quickly, two groups who were repaired. The Japanese. Yeah, I do. I see them. I got eagle eyes, child. But my point is, they repaired the Japanese when they took them and put them in those concentration camps. And the Jewish, but they got something. The Jewish people got reparations from the Germans.
Yeah. Most of them died.
Yes, somebody got reparations. And they just keep that in mind. And then I certainly want to address what you said just now, because you and I are on the same street on that. No, I don't need it. I have $25,000.
It's all
He's next.
But you don't have that 100 million.
You're next.
I feel that I can say I'm sorry, and I have no problem saying I'm sorry, but me saying I'm sorry is not enough. One day of atonement isn't enough. And I don't know what a reparation would be. You have to tell us what the reparation is, because that's the same problem we had in the 60s. The big brother thing, we know what's best for you, and it didn't work. It's not going to work again.
And over here next.
Well, that was, my comment was that we might have, forgotten reparations, except other people have gotten them. The Jewish folks from the Germans and also the Japanese in America. So these things are happening. People are being repaired and given something, if you will. People have died before. So our issue still gets sort of minimized at times when people say, oh, you just let it go. But it can't be let go. I think it's something, as we are talking about today, that's worth talking about until we arrive at some point.
Next. And then you're next.
Well, I have two quick things to say.
Go.
I guess when I look at this issue, I look at it like I look at so many other issues in life. Unless we can bring this down to a personal level, our expectation should be that little to nothing is going to change in dealing with it. And as far as the reparations go, I look at the Japanese, I look at the Jews, whatever, but I sort of look at the situation with the black man being a little different, because it deals with what I look at a lot of times as the infrastructure. And that is the thing that needs to be changed, in my opinion, to bring about any change. So, I mean, giving me the $50,000 or whatever, I don't know if that's going to, that would probably benefit me, but it's not going to do anything but that ingrained infrastructure that has been built into society that's causing all of these problems and from now onward.
Next.
Okay, my thing is with reparations. I don't think I can see it in my lifetime. That's number one. Number two, if we, as blacks, if society would just not remind us of our past, that can go into action. When I say remind us of our past, when I want to walk across the street beside a woman, I feel very offended about that white woman holding her bag thinking I'm going to rob her. Or even just stand by her at the bus stop, she's going to walk down a couple more steps so I won't rape her. That's a bad, ugly joke.
Next.
Well, look at history. Piggyback on what you were saying, looking through the history and stuff of thinking that people of color cannot be educated. Every black person at homeboy and yo man type of thing. I think we have to start with also the history. I mean, Afro-American people have been doing things all through history. I mean, penicillin, not chopped life. Washington, D.C. was designed by somebody of color.
Yeah, but so what?
Can't get no credit for it.
So what?
Exactly, yeah, but that's what I mean. It has to start. They have to start by and changes.
Okay. All right. Next, and case closed, because I want to give the answer to the problem. Oh yes, I have. No, you haven't. Oh, I have it. Go.
I don't have the answer, but I think that to me, the deal would be if we could just talk about it as a nation. If we could just talk about it. I'm not looking to determine that I want $50 or $1 million or whatever for my family. If enough of us would come together in America and say, we demand that we talk about this issue of race. Well, you know, Clinton's tried in some ways, but we talked about sucking dicks. But we all know that. We didn't. if we all could come to that to me would be a success, because at least we get to the point of talking about an issue that America has never acknowledged, that didn't want to even talk about. And right now, we're going to go to war so that we can stop talking about the fact that the rich people are getting richer and the folks who are up there who are already rich, and help them get there. You know, we're going to sidetrack that issue because, and a lot of other folks are going to die. And I remind folks,
Right.
I mean, there may be some other bit.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to talk afterwards. You're out now.
Sorry.
He's the last speaker.
Let him have it.
You're deferring. He gave it to you.
I wish I felt that we all understood the definition of resentment. Because resentment will form people who can be talked into suicide attacks. This country is playing with a lot of fire, and let's say things are out of good outlook. They have got a good percentage of their population who are in thorough and ongoing and building resentment. I'm just hoping this society is worthy enough to save itself from the potential outcome of not solving the problem. We got to at least talk about it. I don't know reparations or anything else.
I want to say, what is your name?
Aiden.
Aiden?
Aiden.
Aiden. It will be in your lifetime. Johnny Cochran and the boys are on the case.
Okay.
And it'll be in your lifetime. It might even be in mine. They're going to get some.
Oh, yeah.
So don't you despair on that. Some of the most brilliant minds, if they got O.J. Simpson out, they can get up. Now, and I've always loved this man. I have, secretly. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I agree with pretty much everything that's been said, and to reiterate a couple of things. The personal level issue that Les mentioned, it seems to me that we need to approach this both from a bottom-up personal level as well as from a top-down macro level, and they won't work without each other. Because if the top-down macro level is a national dialogue on reparations, and we still aren't, if the majority of white people still do not have any African American children in their families that they participate at birthdays with, and realize that they maybe are going to be paying for their college for, and just, if our lives don't mix, then the whole thing up here is kind of artificial. So, we need to look for those opportunities to engage, I think, in one another's lives and continue working on that so that it becomes more real and more concerned, more loving, and then the top-down need for the top-down dialogue almost starts to dissolve. That.
Yeah. Okay, now I have three things to say to bring this to conclusion, and one closing exercise, which is very brief, and we might be 5 minutes over, but I'm sorry I pushed so hard, but I have to get through here. First, I want to say, well, I said one thing to you on something's going to be done, but I'll tell you what I think it's going to be. But don't be deceived, because somebody had the nerve to say that reparations had already arrived and that the blacks were going to get this tax credit. And some of them filed their taxes deducting the credit for slavery, and they're only going to treat trouble with the it's a finesse. And they ain't giving you no money. Now, the second thing is, I agree, and particularly people who are in primary relationships, personal relationships. If you're not talking about, specifically about atonement, I think as blacks and white men who are living together and in close associational relationships, you've got to spend some time dialoguing on the relationship.